What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. Now, I want to touch on something, and I want to make my points clear. I started to even pull something up on the video to read to y'all, but I'm not even going to do all that because you guys all should know this by now. And I'm just going to speak on this quickly. You know, at the end of the fight with Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo, Demetrius Andre, he came in, and I spoke about this in the previous video, and he, congratulated Canelo, said great job, told him he was a fan, and he asked him, when could they get it on, right? Now, I said I don't know if he meant anything, any sarcasm, anything, by saying what he said, or but whatever. Point is, he wanted to fight. Now, I'm not big on people crashing other people's interviews and stuff like that. Especially after you just want to fight. This is your moment, and okay. But let me say this. I watched the video again. I watched it again. I watched it again. I watched it again. Now, let me just tell you what I saw. Now, it's not like I didn't see it the first time. But like I said, whether Demetrius was being sorry, I believe he want that fight. I don't believe he said that just to say it. I believe he want that fight. He's been wanting that fight. Let me say this to y'all. First off, when Demetrius Andre came in there and started talking and addressed Canelo got salty real quick, man. You don't really see Canelo cursing at people in the way, you don't really see him responding like that to people. Demetrius Andre wasn't aggressive. So I'm watching and I'm like, yeah, he got under Canelo's skin. It was more than just the fact that he's sitting there having his moment type thing. Just wanting to fight. No, it was more than that. Demetrius Andre complimented him, told him he was a fan, and asked him when could they get in there and make it happen. He told him, yes, you're a champion, but you fight nobody. You're a horrible fighter. And said he was boring. Then I thought about this, right? You remember when he was supposed to fight Demetrius Andre back in the day, and instead he wound up fighting James Kirkland? There was 2 occasions. Now I was speaking about this in the last video, and I didn't really go into it. 2 occasions where he was actually supposed to fight Demetrius Andre, and somehow he ended up fighting somebody else. He had no interest in going to 168. He wanted to stay at 160. He felt strong, felt comfortable. That was his words. They saw something in Kovalev. Probably saw the same things in Kovalev that I saw. Then they decided that, hey, old man Kovalev ain't looking so steady anymore. Gave him short week's notice. They jumped in there with Kovalev. And, he got the knockout. Really was nothing going on. They were boxing, but it was one of those fights where it was just, that was a boring fight to me. There was nothing going on. Even though they were throwing punches, it was just one of those fights where nothing was really happening. And finally, he got Kovalev out of there. Now, what's funny is, he went right past 168, where David Benavidez is holding the title there, and went to 175, had 1 fight. Now, he's saying that his team doesn't want him to stay there because, they're giving up too many disadvantages. But he felt comfortable fighting old man Kovalev. Nobody criticized Canelo Alvarez and said, yo, man, why he fight a 37-year-old Kovalev? Why he wait for Kovalev to get old, right? They always say Floyd wait for somebody to get old to fight them. But what's funny is when Floyd fought Canelo, everybody was saying Floyd's the old man now. They were saying that Floyd Mayweather is not going to be strong enough, fast enough, tough enough. He's not going to have enough to beat this young guy. Yo, this guy got 40 plus fights. He had way more amateur fights than Floyd. And that Floyd finally met his match. And that was probably Floyd's easiest fight. And then the excuse about him being too young, he wasn't in his prime yet. Oh, you know, he was still growing. Remember Skip Bayless? Remember that? Remember that Skip Bayless when he was about to break down in tears. You know, Canelo Alvarez, this poor kid, he finds himself in there with this probably the greatest defensive fighter of all times, and he just wasn't used to this, and you know, it was what? He wanted that fight. The fans wanted that fight. All these boxing commentators, all these so-called experts and aficionados, right? They all wanted this fight. Remember? What's his name? Larry Merchant? If Floyd Mayweather thinks he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world, why doesn't he fight Canelo Alvarez? Remember that little arrogant, smug smirk he had on his face? Like, yeah, Floyd, yeah, you don't want none of Canelo. As soon as Canelo smacked him around the ring, Floyd smacked Canelo around the ring, all the excuses started pouring in. So Floyd gets approached by Shane Mosley jumping in the ring with B-Hop. Remember that? Begged for that ass whooping. I spoke about this. But somehow Floyd waited for Shane to get old to challenge him. No, he didn't challenge him. Same way when Floyd didn't fight for a year, came back, all of a sudden everybody wanted Marquez. Remember that. Marquez was the fighter everybody chose. Okay, he fought Marquez. Everybody said this is going to be Floyd's toughest fight probably because Marquez is a great counterpuncher, and his style is, if he realizes you can't really hurt him, he's going to walk you down because Marquez, he's a warrior. He can punch and all that shit. Floyd smacked him around, beat him easily. Well, you know, Marquez's best weight is light with all these excuses. Right? Now check this out. Canelo Alvarez fought Shane Mosley after Floyd. And all they said was this kid is incredible. I mean, the fact he can fight a veteran fighter like Shane Mosley, and he's pretty much, I mean, this kid is special. Where was all this? Well, Shane is past his prime. You know, when Shane was younger, it definitely would have been a much tougher fight. And, you know, but yeah, where was all that then? So now he fights Triple G, who's past his prime. So Kovalev, Shane Mosley, Triple G, all these guys that he fought that was past their primes, nobody has made excuses. Now, when I have pointed this out, I'm not talking about people who hate Canelo and it's like, I'm just looking for something to complain about. I'm talking, regardless, I'm talking about people who say these same things about Floyd, who say, I'm just calling it down the middle. If you're calling it down the middle, why you guys are so silent about these opportunities that Canelo is making with these older, washed-up fighters? Because it's definitely not the same energy that you have when you talk about Floyd Mayweather. So check this out. That's three fighters. That's three fighters that was past their prime and he fought them. And he fought Triple G twice. Okay. So hold up. They make excuses about his age when this guy had 40 plus fights, well over 300 amateur fights, very poised, very relaxed already. Look, they said Floyd never gave him a rematch. First off, let me tell you how insanely stupid that is. That fight wasn't even close at all. So what in the fuck was he going to learn in another 3 or 4 month span that, oh, all of a sudden he's a different fighter now, Floyd can't beat him? Okay, I don't hear none of you guys saying he should have gave Austin Trout a rematch because a lot of people thought Austin Trout won. I don't hear none of y'all saying he should have gave Lara a rematch because a lot of people thought Lara won. Shall I go on? So, why is it that... Pause. So, little rugrats running on my damn porch. So, I told you guys, when all of these people are speaking about who's pound for pound king and who's this and who's that, what happens when people are trying to make you bigger than the sport itself? They're trying to make you an icon. Not you just fighting and winning, but the people are trying to get behind you to like convince everybody that this guy is the real deal. This is the kind of things that they do and say. And they want you to forget about anything. Like, for example, right? You can watch Anthony Joshua develop and get better as a fighter, but everybody want to keep going back to the Andy Ruiz fight one. Yet, the fact that Canelo's had fights that people actually thought he lost, the fact that he actually lost, all they want to tell you is how much he's improved. But you don't see any improvement in Anthony Joshua all of a sudden. You don't see any improvement in Errol Spence. Now, this is not a video to shoot down Canelo or nobody else. This is a video to point out the things that Canelo has done, situations he's been in, what he's gotten away with, and how his fans don't keep that same energy with him that they do with everybody else. Let's just be real, because I think Canelo's a solid fighter. And I think that Canelo, where he is right now, he's fought his ass off. Yes, he's gotten a lot of favoritism along the way. He's been put in positions. And out of all the titles that he has, you want to know the one title that nobody talks about? And why I said I feel like it's a stupid title? Because for one, it's a non-existent physical title. Yet he has to pay a sanctioning fee to carry that title name-wise. That's the franchise champion. And I told you guys, don't be shocked. What did I tell you the franchise champion was? Exactly what Mauricio Suleiman said it was. He has immunity to go to whatever weight class he wants and fight and challenge whoever he wants. That's what he's been doing. Let's be realistic, okay? Would you rather have seen him fight Liam Smith or Jamal Charlo? Would you rather have seen him fight Liam Smith or Demetrius Andrade? Now, I remember people comparing Andrade and Saunders, and like I said, look, I don't really care about comparing these guys just to be doing it. But realistically, okay, and I've said this in the past, I think that's a solid fight. That would have been a good fight between Andrade and Saunders, but I think Andrade, for one, is more athletic. He's faster, he's quicker on his feet. He's more awkward. Okay? When Canelo Alvarez is telling you that this guy's boring, what Canelo Alvarez is really saying to you guys, okay, and I'm talking to you guys that believe it, what he's telling you guys is, yo, this dude's style is all wrong for me. He's a guy that's not going to cooperate with me. He's going to box and use angles and do shit that I don't want to do. I want somebody that's not too fleet of foot, that's going to stand right in front of me and give me the best chance I got to just punish them and knock them out. He does not want to fight Demetrius Andrade. He doesn't. He doesn't want to fight Jamal Charlo. And I was glad that when I thought about it, like I wasn't, like looking at Demetrius Andrade like, oh man, you shouldn't have did that. I'm just not big on that. I just feel like, for one, Demetrius Andrade is desperate right now. He is desperate. He's desperate because these guys don't want to fight him. For whatever reason, they don't want to fight him. Jamal Charlo, he's on that bullshit. Oh man, he ain't gonna make a dime off me. That motherfucker broke, and him and his father, they bums, they broke. Man, okay, just get in the ring and fight him. But hey, he don't want to fight him. Okay? Let's be realistic though. Canelo Alvarez, he says he'll fight anybody. He doesn't want to fight Jamal Charlo. He doesn't want to fight Demetrius Andrade. When you fight someone who's capable of using their physical gifts, it's going to be a different fight. He said he's giving up too much by going to 175. But I'm going to tell you guys something. What Canelo Alvarez has been doing, he's fighting at weight classes that he feels comfortable with. He had guys fighting at catch weights for no reason. And I say no reason because he could make the weight. But that's what happens when you have somebody try to gain too much weight or try to lose too much weight. They're going to be drained. So even if they look fit and muscular, they're drained. They're dehydrated. They're not at full strength. These are the type of advantages that fighters try to gain. Let's just be real. Demetrius Andrade is a serious threat. Jermall Charlo is a serious threat. When everybody keeps talking about there's nobody that can beat Canelo, there's nobody. I don't see it. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care about these so-called boxing experts who are wrong 96% of the time, but everybody forget about the shit that they say wrong. You know, he doesn't want to fight guys like that. Now, I don't know what happened to the Jared Herds of the world. You know, I don't know what happened to several fighters if I think about now that we haven't even heard from. So, here's my thing. Canelo says he doesn't want to fight Benavidez because he's Mexican. He don't want to fight another Mexican. Listen, unless we're close, unless we're family, unless you're just somebody who I really got love for, like, because when I fight, I'm not fighting it. I'm trying to destroy you. Unless that's the situation, I'll get in there with Godzilla. I'll fight anybody. You understand what I'm saying? So don't come with that shit about, oh, because he's Mexican. No. Canelo is a great fighter. He has great ability. I give Canelo his props as a fighter. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't see the shit that he's been doing and getting away with. And he's been doing it for a long time. And for everybody, if you notice, there's no fight that he's had since he lost to Floyd that they don't bring Floyd's name up. Some way or another. And what they're trying to do, even with him saying, you know, it was an honor fighting Floyd and he respects Floyd and all that. But then he turns around, he's like, if I fight Floyd now, I would beat a prime Floyd now. You was in your physical prime back then. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, you've gotten better, but at the same time, you haven't gotten that much better to where you would have beat Floyd. The only thing you did was gain weight and got bigger, to be real with you. The thing that he learned, and you're not faster than Floyd, you're stronger. That's about it. A little, bigger. But if you fought Floyd, it wouldn't be at 168. Floyd can't make that. You guys would be fighting at 154, 147, something like that. You don't, you know what I'm saying? So why even bring that up? What that is, you know what, people? That loss to Floyd don't even exist because Canelo now, he wasn't then what he is now. This Canelo would have beat Floyd. Forget that fight. That's what that's what they want to try to do. They want to try to make you erase that out your mind. Every time he looked down and see that one blemish down there, it bothers him, and it bothers the people that not only hate Floyd, but the fact that they hate the fact that that one loss in his record came from, of all people, Floyd. Yet they always want to give somebody else the nod as being better than Floyd. Well, if Demetrius Andrade is so boring, right, and all y'all call Floyd boring, yet Canelo's got so much better. Well, why don't you go out there and do to Demetrius Andrade what you claim you'll do to Floyd? How about that? Why focus on the guy that's retired? Just to even make the conversation. Go fight these guys. Only fights I'm really interested in watching Canelo fight that I'm really interested in is Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade and Benavidez. The reason I don't say Jamel is because Jamel's not going to come to 160 as long as his big brother's there. You know? And I don't see Canelo going to 154. Now, if Canelo goes to 160 and fight Triple G and not Jermall Charlo, I mean, what more can you actually say? The guy can fight, but he's manufactured. He's being spoon-fed, and they're showing Canelo hella favoritism. Let's just be real. Now, I think Billy Joe Saunders did the best job he could. Canelo is a serious fighter. The better man won. Billy Joe Saunders is not the best 168 pounder out there. There's 160-pound fighters that's better than Billy Joe Saunders. We know this. But Billy Joe Saunders is a solid fighter, but not as good as Canelo overall. If he was, he would have won. We don't need what if scenarios. Oh, what if he never got hurt? That's what you basically saying is, what if Canelo didn't punch him in his eye? That's what you're saying. What if Canelo never punched him in his face like that? You got hurt in war, bro. You got hurt and you got beat in a fight. And at the end of the day, guess what? The better man won. But that same guy has been getting away with a lot. And again, when you guys are talking about this guy did this and he ducked him and he waited for him to get old, and all you got to do is look at Canelo's career and listen to your own words, and you sit there and you'll think, damn, you know what? Aries is right. All this time I've been saying this about Floyd and this guy, but Canelo has been doing the same thing. How didn't I see that? That's all you got to do is look at his career. Look at the fights that he's had. Look at how they took a poll about who should fight for that vacant WBO, whatever, at 168 when they stripped Benavidez. And remember, I forget the guy's name. Same guy that lost to Chris Eubanks, a fighter that everybody despised for whatever reason. And basically, Canelo was voted out. Nobody wanted to see him fight that meatball. And it's funny because he skipped right past 168. As soon as Benavidez got stripped, all of a sudden, now I go to 168. I don't want to fight another Mexican. I'm Mexican. I represent the Mexican people. That's the excuse. So it would look like, nah, he didn't duck. He just ain't want to fight another Mexican. And the fact that y'all even, if I'm Mexican and he's talking about, oh, yeah, he don't want to fight another Mexican. I'm like, man, grow a set of nuts, man, and go in there and fight this dude. You think that'd be like Errol Spence saying, I don't want to fight Terrence Crawford, man, because I'm a black American and I don't want to fight another black man. Stop acting like a bitch. Go in there and fight this dude and take his belt. Go make your money. Since when all of a sudden now, what is it, a race war now? So is that what we're going to do now? Boxing is going to be like the Olympics? Where we gonna have Cubans versus Americans, Jamaicans versus Haitians, Africans versus Russians, like that. That's what it's going to be now. You only fight people that's not your nationality. What they have to do anything? So for everything that I'm hearing people saying, it's like y'all not listening to yourselves, man. Like I said, the fights that people thought Canelo lost, he didn't rematch. People were saying Castillo beat Mayweather. Mayweather rematched him. And for all the people that say that shit is funny, they never talk about the rematch, though. They don't talk about that rematch. They love talking about the first one. Yeah, he won. Whatever. But he didn't rematch nobody. They said Maidana, which we know Maidana missed through now damn near 1,000 punches, only landed 100 and something. And he definitely didn't win that fight. He was just more active. You know, throwing, hitting the air doesn't mean that you won the fight because you're the aggressor. That doesn't mean that you won. But he rematched these guys because people were saying he lost. The rematch with Triple G and Canelo, it was a circumstance situation, basically. And we know how that went. We know why the rematch happened. So do we need to see a third one? No. I don't know how y'all feel, but me personally, I'm going to say it again. I'm not really interested in a Canelo fight unless it's with Jamal Charlo, Demetrius Andre, or Benavidez. And I am interested in the Caleb Plant fight. I didn't say that one because that's the fight that he's supposed to be having next. But that's the only, those 4 fights right there. It's not like he's going to fight all 4 of those guys in 1 year, 2 years, whatever. He only fights once a year, maybe twice. So, and I'm pretty sure in between those type of fights, unless he just go destroy somebody, he's going to go fight a meatball at some point. And you know what I mean? But that's the 4 fights. I don't want to see him in no damn Triple G. I don't want to see some guy that's 30-0 that we don't even know who the fuck this guy is. Who the hell is this dude? 30-0 against who? Nobody on his resume do we know. I don't care for that. And that franchise championship garbage is basically a situation of favoritism. You get to do what you want to do. You can go fight who you want to fight, whatever weight class, all that nonsense. And mind you, again, like the guy that they had that vote about, if you notice, they voted Canelo out, but guess what? He became Canelo's mandatory without even fighting anyone. Now you tell me that's not favoritism? Look, y'all, just call it down the middle. And I wanted to get that off my chest because I said, you know what's so funny, man? Canelo can do no wrong. No matter what Canelo does, nah, it's okay. No, why you think he got so angry? Get the fuck out of here. I'm going to fuck you up now, with the fuck out. Why you think he got so mad? It wasn't because Demetrius Andre came in and asked him a question. He don't want to fight the guy. He don't want to fight him. Everybody that made Canelo look bad were slick boxers that can move. Every one of them. You never seen him look bad. Against Kovalev, nothing was really happening until he just got the knockout. But at the same time, I still gave him props for going up there and beating Kovalev, but Kovalev only had a week's notice, 2 weeks notice or whatever it was, and, you know, there was some other things, but, you know, fuck Kovalev anyway. I don't like Kovalev as a fighter, you know. Kovalev is a weird guy and did and said some shit that wasn't cool, that I didn't like. Fuck Kovalev anyway. But still in all, the facts are the facts. And pretty much, he only showed interest in 168 when Benavidez no longer had a title. And if anybody can say why he didn't go there and fight after he done said he don't want to fight him because he's Mexican. No, he don't want to fight Benavidez because Benavidez is a threat. And that guy Beterbiev, whatever how you pronounce his name, at 175, yeah. Why he ain't fight him? Why he go fight Kovalev? He pulled the Errol Spence. Why not go fight Sean Porter and take the easy route and get a title? It wasn't the easy route at all either, though, was it? But that's what he did. He pulled the Errol Spence. Instead of him fighting Terrence Crawford, he went and fought Sean Porter. Can't knock him because Sean Porter is a top guy. Okay, but Kovalev, he was on his way out, man. Kovalev ain't did shit since he lost that fight. So at the end of the day, what I'm getting at, people, is this. If you're going to call it down the middle, you got to call it down the middle for every fighter. For every fighter. Not just the ones that you like. Canelo is a talented fighter. Canelo goes in there and he wins. Saunders is a top guy. Smith is a top guy. But there's guys better than both of them. Let's just be real. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings out of people, and I will catch y'all in the next video.